So recently, an NBA insider stated that the New Orleans Pelicans currently have zero, and I mean zero, untouchable players on this roster. So what does that mean for Joe Dumars? What does that mean for the Zion saga? What does that mean for a lot of these players on this team? So we're going to break that down right now on the Pelicans Scoop. Y'all know the drill. Cue my music.
This is the Pelican Scoop with Jordan Kitchens, breaking down everything under the sun about your New Orleans Pelicans. Smash that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to stay on top of your Pels content. Now, running point, here's Jordan.
What is good, YouTube? Welcome back to another edition of the Pelican Scoop. I am your host with the most, Jordan Kitchens, and ladies and gentlemen, a couple days removed from all this Zion saga. I know, I just keep hitting y'all with a couple haymakers, and you're not dodging them. Y'all are taking all the punches right now, but we just got to go through this news cycle. And honestly, in an offseason of, it's kind of relatively quiet other than the usual suspect that's going to make it pretty loud, I'm enjoying it. So recently, an NBA insider, Kevin O'Connor, who works for The Ringer, so he was making mock drafts. And for the Pelicans, mocked at 7. Of course, he has getting kind of nipple. Wouldn't be too mad about that. It depends on if somebody falls, whatever. But it's not about the draft. So, when they do the mock drafts, they always have a little description box of like why this pick makes sense or whatnot. So, given his description, he gave a little bit of insight that the New Orleans Pelicans have 0 players untouchable on their roster. So, let me read that for you right now. So the description was posted by the NBA Central, of course. That's right. I like to get a lot of my basketball news because they're not biased. Other than their Lakers bias, they pretty much gonna talk about every team in the association. So the New Orleans Pelicans don't have any untouchable players on the roster per Kevin O'Connor at NBA. There are no untouchables in New Orleans. The league sources say the Pelicans are gouging the market for everyone on their roster. They very well could end up keeping their core pieces, mainly Zion Williamson, but it appears the Pelicans are looking into taking different paths this summer depending on what opportunities become available. Now, granted, this was before the whole Zion saga going on currently, so would Zion be one of those names on the market? I could definitely see a situation where Gail Benson just like that was the straw that breaks the camel's back. Depending on what happens, we don't know. So he said, she said situation, so we just gotta let the court do what it do. But I can definitely see a situation where Gail Benson would, hit the red button. But if Gail Benson does do that, I hope you guys notice. And I want everybody that's watching this to notice. If Gail Benson moves off Zion, it's officially a rebuild. It's no ifs and buts about it. It will be officially a rebuild, and I can see them. If you're gonna do that, you might as well just gut it down to the, when they say to a house to the studs, just gut it down to the studs. Empty it out, just gut it out. Rip the sheetrock, go rip the installation, windows, doors, all that. Just go ahead and rip this bad boy out, and we might as well start over because you've already had so many teams pass you up in their rebuilds, i.e. the Oklahoma City Thunder. Well, what there really was, now I was looking at it, it really wasn't a rebuild, it's more of a retooling, but they still did it faster than you, right? Between OKC, the Rockets, the Spurs, the list goes on, the Grizzlies, Timberwolves, all these teams that passed you up. And can you honestly look in the mirror and say you're close to even touching them? Even if healthy Zion, so many different things have to go correct for the Pelicans next year. I can definitely see a world where this happens. But, and I know, you guys hate when I say the R word, rebuild. But the problem with that is, if you're going to move off Zion, everybody needs to be. And if you're going to move off Zion, I just feel like everybody needs to be on the same timeline. Now, I'm not sitting there saying that Trey Murphy's asking out. But as a Trey Murphy, why would you want to be here for a rebuild? You're young, you're finna get paid. Well, you just got paid. You're trying to expand your career. Also, you're trying to make an all-star team. You can tell Trey's trying to go for these type of accolades. What does that mean about his future in New Orleans if everybody is up for grabs? I highly doubt they'll try and move off Trey because you need somebody to kind of get some fans in the stands. You need somebody. You can't just do that. But that's only if they hit the atom bomb and drop the Zion out of here. Like, that's it. I can see them holding on to Zion. This franchise likes to hold on to everybody a year too late. They should have got out Brandon Ingram, so I can definitely see a world where Zion is still on his roster on opening day. Now, what does that mean for C.J. McCollum? Now, if we were going to talk about C.J. McCollum, I highly believe that they'll try and move off C.J. this offseason. C.J.'s getting up in age. You're going into a situation where you kind of need that two-guard spot open. And if CJ's not the point guard you need, even though DeJounte is going to be out for a foreseeable future, that'd be nice for them to move off DeJounte. But if you're going to have to move off DeJounte, you're going to have some type of assets attached to it. Because who's trading for a 30-year-old point guard with a torn Achilles? Nobody. Unless you're like the Utah Jazz and you're just trying to tank because they have to tank because OKC owns their picks next year. But like I said, there's a lot of crazy people in the NBA. So somebody might make that deal. But just knowing that you're going to have to attach something to that and knowing that you don't have the same war chest you had a couple years back with the Anthony Davis trade. The war chest has been drained clean by yours truly. Griff, pause if needed, it's been drained. All right, it's empty. It's empty. The war chest is empty. You got Indiana first round pick next year, top 4 protected. But other than that, you got Milwaukee. Hold up, you do got Milwaukee. That's where it does get tricky. I lied. You do own Milwaukee's future for the next 2 years. They're pick swaps, though. They're pick swaps, so that needs to be noted. They're pick swaps. So if the Pelicans and Milwaukee are both bad, that does you no justice at all. The Pelicans have to be good, and Milwaukee has to be bad. So there's an incentive to swap the picks. So that's all. It's so much on the line with so little room for error. So little room for error. Jordan Hawkins, or they're trying to move off Jordan Hawkins. Antonio Reeves exploded. Or they do draft Con Knipple. Somebody's going to have to bite the bullet. So, yes, I do believe that pretty much this roster is very touchable. You can probably grab even Herb Jones. I know Herb Jones is like a folklore hero, but Herb Jones should be available. Everybody should be available. Honestly, if your name is not Trey Murphy, I would like to put Zion in the unavailable, but I can't do that. I would be doing y'all a disservice to even sit there and conjure up those words. I cannot label Zion as untouchable. If the price is right, you can have him. Straight up. If the price is right, and I mean multiple first-round picks, I mean like 2-3 first-round picks, and I'm talking price is right, I'm talking multiple first-round picks, at least 2 to 3. Mikal Bridges went for 5. So Zion is definitely better than Mikal Bridges. It's going to have to take a little bit off the price because, he's got this he's scandalous. He's very scandalous, and, you don't know about his weight. So I'll take a couple picks off the top, but at least 2. I'm not going under the 2. 2 first-round picks for sure for Zion. And then, maybe a player here and there, maybe a player here, a player there. But other than that, if the price is right, I will definitely answer that call. This is not no Victor Wembanyama situation or Luka Doncic. No, I'm hanging that up. I said Luka Doncic. Luka got traded, brother. You know that, right? Yeah, I know Luka got traded. But the Lakers, they're not answering no calls for Luka. But I really want everybody to visualize and picture, why would Joe Dumars hold any loyalty to any of these players? These aren't his guys. He didn't draft none of these people. Yeah, he said he had talks with Zion, even before he became the president of basketball operations. He said he had talks with Zion before that. Even when he got here, still doesn't matter. He owes zero loyalty to any of these guys. So Joe Dumars, and man, and it's just like, man, I just hate that this is the discussion. Everybody's up for grabs. It's a free-for-all. Might be a fire sale. And I hate to say this, but when teams start talking like that, it don't matter. We'll answer any call. Come get at us. I mean, half off. We charging 30% off. We got a whole clearance rack going on. If you want Antonio Reeves right now, it's like I hate being in this predicament. But ultimately, Joe Dumars owes nobody no loyalty. And he really wants to better this team and find ways to improve this team, that means you're going to have to answer some calls. That means you're going to have to go make some calls. That means you're going to have to shop around. That means, look, you like this guy, but if I feel like this piece that we're going to bring in or this pick right here is going to be crucial to the end product, then yeah, so be it. Because this team is no closer to winning a championship right now than they were last year or the year before that. We're still you kind of been in limbo. When you look at the Zion era of the Pelicans, other than the year they made it to the first round, well, the 2 times they made it to the first round with the Brandon Ingram and the Suns and then OKC getting swept, you've been in limbo. Still in the same spot, dwindling between the 7th through 10th pick. You're the play-in princess. You're always labeled to be in the play-in, and ultimately, that's not where you want to be. That's kind of like the Saints in the necessarily where they was going 8-9 and 9-8, just sitting in limbo. You're sitting in limbo. You're nowhere closer to winning a championship with none of these players on the team, and especially with the coach. So I don't know what Joe Dumars is going to have to do. It's a tall task. But damn it, somebody got to do the job, and this is the job you wanted. This ain't no retirement home, buddy. Go out there and fix this. This needs to be fixed. You not letting go of Willie was a red flag, but we'll see. We got to let the cards play. I mean, I'm not letting the cards play I'm fully convinced that Willie's not a good coach, so I don't need to let the cards play. I'm talking about the roster necessarily. Maybe the team might be more healthy. Maybe might bring in a new medical staff. I don't know, but I know for a fact Willie's not the answer. Could you sit here right now and tell me that Willie Green's a championship-level coach? Could you could you visualize Willie Green ever holding up the Larry O'Brien trophy? Can you? Can you ever see Willie Green going on a playoff run? Can you ever see a scenario where Willie Green outcoached the Oklahoma City Thunder coach in a Game 5 or something? Could you ever see that? Could you visualize that? No? Why? Now the answer is why. Oh, that's why. I'm just saying, could you actually visualize this team making a run next year? Now, granted, this could be stupid because nobody thought the Indiana Pacers were going to make it to the NBA Finals this year unless you was living in Gary, Indiana or Indianapolis. You didn't think the Pacers were going to the finals. Nobody outside of the state of Indiana thought that. So, look, everybody's wrong. But I can tell you this Pelicans team roster doesn't look nowhere near as the Pacers roster, and our coach is nowhere near as good as Rick Carlisle. So it's like, yeah, everybody should be available. Even the coach. Shop Willie, too. Go shop Willie. Go include Willie. We'll give you Willie Green, a pineapple big shot, some fried shrimp, and maybe some char-grilled oysters. Maybe a dozen. Maybe. We'll throw in Willie Green. Give us something for that. Because other than that, could you honestly say this team is closer to winning a championship now than they were last year or the year before that? Kind of feel like you've been in limbo. Like, we'll be happy to make the playoffs. No, we'll be happy to make the play-in. That right there is purgatory. When you're happy to make the play-in. Squeeze into the play-in. I.e. the Atlanta Hawks. I.e. the Miami Heat. I.e. the Chicago Bulls. I.e. the Sacramento Kings. Like, you're the play-in princess. And honestly, that's not the reality that I want to be living in. Because that one time the Heat made it to the finals from the play-in when they knocked out the Celtics and all that, it's rare. Even though the play-in is relatively new, it's still rare. And honestly, you're not in a good position. You're not. It is what it is. But y'all get down in the comments, man. Who do you think is available? Matter of fact, don't even tell me who you think is available. Who should get shipped out? That's what I know. Let's have some uncomfortable conversations. Who right now do you feel like should leave this roster tomorrow that needs to be traded? Let me know. I'm all ears. Let me know who do you guys want moved. What move do you think? Comment some trade scenarios. I don't like to do the trade machine and plug the trades in, because every time you do that, you're always going to make sure that your team is the winner in the trade. You're always going to be like, oh, we fleeced them. So I never like to do those or even break those type of things down. But everybody's up for sale, as you've heard. So let me know down in the comments, man. I've been your host, the most Jordan Kitchens, and I'm signing out, baby. Peace.